Welcome back to Pace Law Firm, talking once again with Addie Greco-Sanchez from AGS Rehab Solutions Incorporated. Addie, we're talking today about being an expert witness, which immediately brings to mind Law and Order episodes where suddenly I'm going to be on the stand and I'm sweating bullets and they're asking me all kinds of stuff. What's the real story? How does it start out when you get the phone call to be an expert witness?
Well, it is frightening. It's definitely overwhelming, and it's something that myself and my colleagues are always afraid of doing because nobody likes to be torn to shreds. And because we've all seen those horrible Law and Order episodes,
Right.
it's frightening to think about being on the witness stand and your credibility basically going down the tubes as a result of being cross-examined and it not going very favorably. So I thought it would be a good idea to do some research on this, and I actually wrote an article on expert testimony, especially for vocational evaluators, because, as I said, we do write independent opinions, and it's important for people who are giving opinions to be able to defend them when they are on the witness stand.
Okay. Now, in terms of being a vocational assessment person or vocational assessment professional, why would you be called to the witness stand?
Because in our case, we would have written a defensible report after having completed a vocational assessment, and because we've rendered an opinion as an expert. So as a result, it's necessary for us to then be in the courtroom and basically help for people in the courtroom to understand how our report and how our findings have impacted the client.
So if you were to write, say, and this is very lay terms here, but let's say you said this person could no longer be a bricklayer or something like that.
Right.
The lawyer is going to talk to you about that, and you mentioned being ripped to shreds. I mean, is it that harsh that they go after you, or what is it really like?
Well, not necessarily are they going to go after you. I think it's important that people are prepared. If you are making a decision that this person is able to do this type of work, then you basically have to go about defending how it is that you came up with that conclusion. So I always say to people, you have to be really prepared. You have to basically study your report as if you were writing an exam on it. I remember when I went to court last year, I was called to Superior Court, and I thought, I'm going to die. I just can't believe it. Or this case is going to settle. Please, please let it settle. And of course, the day comes and it hasn't settled. And I remember being called by the lawyer for a pre-trial conference, which was a great idea. And this is where you as a vocational expert have an opportunity to prepare the lawyer really for his lines of questions, because you want to make sure everybody in the courtroom, regardless of whose side you're on, is understanding what the impact of the work that was done is on the client.
All right. So pre-trial conference, very important. What are some other tips that maybe you can give some vocational assessment professionals out there?
As I said, to be really prepared. I thought that it was necessary for me to read that entire box of medical documents, and what a fool I was going to be on the stand if I didn't understand all those medical terms. Well, it's not important to do that. The only thing you have to really, really understand well is your own report. And you have to make it easy for people to understand you. We sometimes say, oh, don't speak vocationalese, because that's what we do, is we speak what we know.
Right.
So it's important to just speak plain English, speak in layman terms that jurors and the judge and the lawyers in the courtroom will understand.
Is it like Law and Order? I mean, what is it? Is it like a lot more boring, a lot more? So what's it like?
You know what? It really isn't that exciting. I think it's more the anticipation of what it's going to be like.
Right.
And, it's important to really pause and to be very thoughtful in your response, as opposed to thinking, I'm going to get bashed. It's the next question that comes up. I'm going to get bashed. Lawyers, like everybody else, are kind people. They are
really?
not.
Oh, okay. All right.
They're not there to make a fool of you. They are really there to present their client in the best light they possibly can. So it's important that you assist the courtroom process by basically laying out your findings and what it is that makes you an expert. Don't forget, you're the person who has the expertise in the courtroom. Nobody knows vocational assessments like you do.
Okay.
As that expert. So it's important that you basically enlighten the courtroom as to what makes you the expert.
Now, what would you say to lawyers that are watching out there, lawyers at Pace Law Firm that are tuning in to hear what you have to say? What would you say to the lawyers that maybe they could do to help you before a trial?
They need to explain to anybody who's going to be on the witness stand, and in my case, a vocational evaluator, what the key issues are and how they are pertinent to their case. Because once that is understood, then the person on the stand will know very clearly what it is that they have to address. For example, in a case where I was in court, it was competitive employment. Yes, this person has returned to work, but it was very menial jobs that had been identified for her. So would you consider this person then to be competitively employable? And that was the contentious issue for the lawyers, and that's what needed to be addressed. So it's important, again, that that person is prepared in that regard.
So it gives you a chance to focus on what you need to know, basically,
exactly,
before you go into it.
In advance. And then that helps everybody. Once you understand that, then you can go to the courtroom feeling very well prepared, very poised, and always be professional. Be impeccable in your dress, in your presentation, and keep that in mind from the minute you leave your car until you get back into the car. Don't do your happy dance until it is over.
All right, that's great, Addie. Thank you very much. Reach Addie at the address and phone number that you see on the screen. And Addie, I'm sure we'll be talking to you very soon about another subject, and we'll see you next time.
Sounds
Bye.
wonderful.